This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Good morning, team. In this Azure Data Engineer Master Program, so in today's session, we'll be talking about copy data from SFTP to SQL database with the Key Vault and logic cap for alert notification in the Synapse we'll be discussing today. So three things. First thing is we will be learning how to copy data from SFTP to SQL database. SFTP can be there in the on-premise, SFTP can be there in the cloud. Okay. So you know if it is in the on-premise, you need to install the SHIR. If it is in the cloud, we can use the Azure IR. But our first goal is to see how to copy data from SFTP to SQL database. Second thing is when we are connecting to the SFTP source and Azure SQL database source, we are going to use the Key Vault. What is the purpose of the Key Vault team? For security purpose, to keep the sensitive information securely, we will be using the Key Vault. Next, we will be using third and final thing is logic cap we will be using to send the alert notification. If the copy is failed, we will be sending a failure notification. If copy is successful, we will be sending the success notification. So these three things will be seeing today. Let's see, we will learn what is FTP and what are the disadvantages with the FTP. What is SFTP and key features of the SFTP? Why SFTP we need to use over Azure storage account? When we have already blob storage, data lake storage, why we are going with the SFTP? We will see. When to go for storage account, when to go for SFTP, we will discuss scenarios. Copy data from SFTP to SQL database. We will learn what is Key Vault and the key benefits. Logic App, how to integrate with Azure Synapse. Logic App with the dynamic trigger body and dynamic trigger values. Today lab estimations for Synapse, prerequisite, required resources and assignments we will be discussing in today's session. So what is FTP? Anybody aware team what is FTP? FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, is a standard protocol. Okay, it is used to transfer files over network. For example, if you see this diagram, you will get to know what happened. So you want to share some course material. Okay, so what you are doing as a user, okay, so you are uploading the one of the file in the server. Okay, this is the computer, this is the server. FTP server, you can see name, right? FTP server. So from this computer, I uploaded some file in the FTP server. Now what happens? All of you can able to download the file from this particular server. All of you can download the file from this particular server. That's it. So that's how you can able to use the file transfer protocol server. It is used to transfer the files. So user is just uploaded some file, like all the participants are downloading the, okay, one of the customer uploaded the file, all the users are downloading that particular file. So that's how if you want to share, if you want to transfer some file to multiple participants, right? So if multiple participants wants to download that particular file from the server, so if you want to transfer this particular file from FTP servers to all the customers, in such cases we will be using the FTP. Now let's understand what is the difference between a computer and a server. Okay, so servers can generally store much more data than computers or laptops, you can say. Servers are built with more robust hardware to handle multiple requests from clients simultaneously. If you think of these people are a clients, multiple clients are requesting for some file. So multiple requests to take up. So FTP server can able to take up, meaning There is no difference between a computer or server. Only difference is, if when you say FTP server, we are putting more robust hardware to handle the multiple requests, and it can able to hold much more data than our normal computers, or you can say laptops. Okay. Now, what are the problems? So we can configure our own computer to act as a FTP server. Yes, our own computer also we can just configure as a FTP server. Sometimes FTP server will require an account with the username and password, and sometimes you can just log in as a anonymous. So what happens if this client wants to download some file? Sometimes you can enforce to provide username and password. So just it will validate and it will send the file. Similarly, if this client is requesting for something, you can just without login you can able to send that. So it supports both. Okay, with the account verification, without account verification as a anonymous, you can able to download the files. We can use FTP clients like FileZilla or WinSCP to connect to the FTP servers. I'll show you that also today. The main disadvantages with this particular FTP is not a secure protocol. So whatever files that you are sending, normally if you see, when we are using HTTP and HTTPS, what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS, team? S is nothing but a security for certified. Okay, so HTTPS is secure than the HTTP. Similarly, FTP is not a secure protocol. Data will be sending from FTP server to the client, which is in the plain text format. See, data being transferred is not encrypted. Data is not in encrypted. Data is sent in a clear text. Same as it is, the text will be sending from server to the client. Data should be used only in a limited basis. If the data is not sensitive, then you can able to use the FTP. But if data is sensitive, you can't able to use the FTP because it's not a secure. It is not going to encrypt it. Okay, anybody like anonymous users can log in and they can able to see this particular data. So that's why FTP is not as secure. So that's where we need to move on to the SFTP, which is called a secure file transfer protocol. If you see here, when client is downloading the file, if you see, there is a encryption at the server side. Like when we are sending the file, there is encryption, meaning while we are transferring the files, the data will be encrypted. So that's why SFTP is nothing but it adds a extra layer of protection for our data. And all users must authenticate with user and the server, whether this user is having a permission to access the FTP and user is having a permission to access that particular file or not. If everything is there, then file will be sending in the encrypted format. It is not going to send it in the plain text. The advantage of the SFTP is it's a extra layer of protection. SFTP adds a strong layer of security to file transfer by using SSH encryption, making it safer than traditional FTP. Data is encrypted. It keeps your data safe from people who might try to secretly view or steal it while it's being transferred. Authentication. SFTP always authenticates both the user and the server, ensuring that only authorized users can access the files, preventing unauthorized access or attacks. Okay, that's how SFTP is more secure than the FTP. So that's why we mainly use in real time SFTP only. Okay, why SFTP over Azure storage account? Let's see. So advantages of the SFTP over Azure storage account, if you see, secure file transfer, built-in encryption for data in transit. So when you are sending the files, so by default the data will be encrypted. Ease of use, familiar and simple for traditional file transfer. So before this cloud and all, we are using the SFTP only to transfer the file securely. Legacy system supports, as I mentioned before, cloud we are using this SFTP. So almost all legacy systems support the SFTP. Okay, granular access control, you can able to control the access at folder level, file level, like all the ADLS gen to whatever you have, right? So similarly, granular level access you can give it. Port based security. So you need to use a single port called 22 to configure the SFTP when you are connecting. Okay, direct server to server transfer, convenient for automated workflows. So when you have, maybe in real time some people might have done, I feel, because when you have two servers, SFTP servers, if you want to transfer files from one SFTP to another SFTP, it is very very easy. Resumable transfer, for example, due to some failure, like 50% of the data is transferred and it got failed. Now what you can do, you no need to start from the beginning, you can start from 50%. It can be resumable transfer, meaning whatever interrupts, whatever failures happen, so that you can able to start from the point of failure, where it failed. From there you can start copying again, you no need to copy everything once again. Okay, so that's how these are the advantages of the SFTP. When to use SFTP? If you want more security, I want simple file based transfer. Example, you are using some legacy systems. Okay, legacy systems means you have some kind of a on-premise SFTP where you are already using since long time, so you can able to continue to use that SFTP. So when you need direct file management, if you want to move the files from one server to another server, if you want to rename the servers and all, so those all things directly can be done within the SFTP, you can go for it. But when to use Azure storage account, if you have very large data and you want cloud based data storage and processing, both I want to store data in the cloud and process in the cloud, you can go for Azure storage. When you need scalable, highly available storage with integration to other Azure services, then we need to go for Azure storage. But SFTP, if you want simple file based transfer, where you should be able to move the files from one server to another server without using ADF and all these things, then you can go with the SFTP. Okay, but when we will use SFTP generally is to maintain some files securely. Okay, and those files should be accessible locally. Okay, locally people should be able to download, upload the files. They, like a local user, should be able to connect to the server directly, so they should be able to rename, they should be able to move. If they want to do anything, they should be able to do. In such cases we can go with the SFTP. Okay, but SFTP is not good for the large scale data. But if we have a simple like a small to medium sized data, then you can go with the SFTP. Clear, Tim? Okay. Scenarios, we will see how to copy data from SFTP to Azure SQL DB. How can I create linked service to SFTP by securely retrieving password from keyboard? How can I create linked service to Azure SQL Database by securely retrieving connection string from keyword? How to send notification when pipeline succeeded? How to send notification when pipeline failed? How to add parameters to notification? How to add dynamic content to notification web activity? Okay. So Key Vault, it's a cloud service that securely stores sensitive information like password, encryption key certificates. It helps you manage access to these secrets and protect important data. Azure Logic App is a cloud service that automates workflows, integrates app services and data. It enables building event-driven processing with no-code visual designing tools. Okay, next. Logic App. This is how Logic App will look like. We already used with ADF. Overview diagram for today. So we will have a copy activity which copies data from SFTP to database. Next we will be configuring the web activity to send success or failure notification. Today lab estimation, we need two linker services, one for SFTP, one for database. Two data sets, one copy activity with web activity, one pipeline, we need to use Azure integration runtime. Prerequisite, we need SFTP database, Azure Synapse, Key Vault, Logic App. Okay, so all other are the components of the Azure Synapse. So required resources: SFTP, Azure SQL Database, Azure Synapse, okay, Azure Key Vault, Logic. These are the 5 required resources for today lab. So this is the body for Logic App, So this is the failure notification. This is a success notification that you can able to send it to your Logic App from the web activity. Assignment says you need to copy multiple folders from SFTP to ADLS gen to using Key Vault and configure Logic App to trigger alerts. So I am explaining with a single table. You should practice with the multiple tables. Clear, team? Yeah. Let's go here. First, let me create what is our source. One second. Okay, so first I'll create a synapse. Okay, let's go and create a synapse team. Workspace name is Cloud Pandit dev Synapse workspace east US. Account name is Cloud Pandit dev RG. Sorry, it's a data lake, right? Synapse ADLS. Click OK. File system name is global. Click OK, team. Okay, so you can see this is a subscription, there's a resource group, workspace name, account name, file system. Click review plus create. So remove the password, team. Review plus create. Click creating. So come to second tab. Let's create our target, which is SQL database. What is that? SQL database. Click on create SQL database. So Cloud Pandit SQL DB server. Let's create Cloud Pandit dev SQL server. This is the username. This is the password. Okay, this is the username and password. This is the server name. Click OK. So yeah, next. That's it. Click review plus. Okay, 1 second. Let's set up the database to budget friendly one. Click apply. Click review plus create. Click create. Now if you see Synapse is created, database is created. Now let's create our source. Source Synapse SQL database. Okay. Now what we need is we need to use your storage accounts. Go to storage accounts. I'll show you how to create SFTP. Okay. Click on create storage account. Okay. This is the subscription. This is a resource group. So here I am giving storage name is Cloud Pandit SFTP 001. Okay. After that, go to next. Enable a hierarchical namespace. What this will create, team? If I say review plus create,
ADLS.
ADLS. Okay. Now if you come down, you see enable SFTP. Enable the SSH file transfer protocol for your storage account that allows users to access blobs via an SFTP endpoint. Local users need to be created before the SFTP endpoint can be accessed. Okay, I'll show you how to create local users, but you need to just click on this as well along with this hierarchical namespace which enables the SFTP. Okay, local users features will be enabled with SFTP. Create local user identities to access the SFTP endpoint after storage account is created. Okay, click on review plus create. As I mentioned, local users can able to access this particular SFTP. Okay, create it. Okay, now if you see, I created a source, Synapse and a database. I'll create a key vault and logic app. After we keep source and sync, Synapse, everything is ready. Okay, let's wait. Go to resource now. So this is a SFTP. See what it is saying. Enabling SFTP on Azure blobs has an hourly billing impact. So it is going to charge us hourly. Now you have to be very much more careful. So what you need to do now is, if I remember correctly, yeah, go to SFTP here. Okay, see in settings SFTP. If you go to SFTP, you see it is asking to add a local user. Just click on add local user. So I can say MS user. So you want password or key pair. Key pair means it will give you very big key and value so that you can able to use. But I am just going to use a password. It will be easy for all of us. Just click on next. So container, to which container you want to grant the permission. Let's say global is the container that I am creating. To that particular container, I am granting all the permissions, read, write, full permission for this particular user on this container. Okay. Home directory, you can just give global as a home directory team. Okay. Just click on add. Okay, fine. So now what happened? It has generated some password. Okay, you need to copy this password and keep it here. Anyhow, I will be deleting after this, so that's why I can display this. And you can see this is a connection string team. Okay, this is a connection string, so which has the like a complete host name and the username and host name both are there. Okay, fine, fine. So now what we need to do, we need to, okay, so we need to we can able to connect to this particular SFTP from WinSCP and FileZilla. So let me see WinSCP. I think WinSCP is not there. FileZilla is not there. Okay, just wait for a few minutes. Double click on this. Click yes. I agree. Loading data. This will only take a brief minute. Next. Next. Desktop icon I am creating. Next. Just create it. Install it. Okay. Just it will be done very quickly. No issues. Okay. Yes, it's finished. Now you can come here. You can say file. So you can see FileZilla, right? So you can just open it. Now we want to connect. So here you need to put host, username, password, and port. Always remember for SFTP port 22, FTP port 21. Okay. So password I already pasted here. This is the password. This is the password. User. I think you need to give the username like this, and I hope host name should be this. Now let's try to do a quick connect. Click OK. Click OK. Okay, what it is saying, so root it is connected. Now let's say if I go here, uh, 1 second, go to containers. We're seeing global, right? Here, maybe you can create here one directory called India. Save it. Come here. Refresh it. See here, are you seeing India folder? India folder is listed down or not? Okay, so this is your local computer. Now it is easy for us to, like, if I go inside India, okay, now even if you want to create folders directly, we can just create the folders, create a directory. Okay, India slash landing slash credit data is the folder that I am creating. Okay, now if you say landing is there, now credit data is there. Now how easy, we don't need to use ADF or something for simple file transfers. Now what you can do, let's imagine I have some files in my system. Okay, let me go to documents. Okay, let's go to some file. Okay, or employee order. This is my local computer, remember. Okay, I'm just browsing through this. Okay, do one thing, go to this directory, comma, credit data I have here, right? I can just take this path and you can just paste it here, enter. So you will directly come here. Now you have credit, weekly, credit, all these files, right? Now how simple it is for us to bring the data is, you need to just move it like this. Okay, now file is transferred. Now file is transferred from our local to SFTP. Now if you go to your storage account, now you can just go inside India, landing, credit data, under that credit underscore monthly dot csv. how simple it is to do some kind of a file transfers locally. It is easy if it is a SFTP. Okay, understood team, everybody? That is the power of the SFTP. Okay, this is how you can connect to the SFTP. You can see normal protocols if you access any Google. Okay, google.com. If I say, what happens, what will be the URL team? So what is the URL will come? For example, it will not come properly. If I say gmail.com. Okay, so what is the URL which it is going to come? Not going to just come like this, right? HTTPS colon slash. Okay, it is coming. But if you see here, SFTP, what is the protocol? You can see here, right? What it is saying here, host name. If you see, what is the URL it is taking? SFTP colon. So this is a protocol. How we have HTTPS is a protocol. Similarly, SFTP is a protocol. Okay, everybody understood him? Hmm? This is how you can connect to the this one locally. Now let's go to, okay, so source is ready. I kept some file as well, and locally I moved the file into the SFTP. Synapse is ready, database is ready. Now as a first step, let me create a logic app. Go to, sorry, key vault team. Okay, first let's go to key vaults. Click on create key vault. Resource book is this. Key vault name is cloud pandit -dev AKV001. Okay, okay, dev-akv005. Click review plus create. Click creative. Everybody understood him? So I copied the like SFTP host name, and this is basically this is a SFTP connection string. This is the password. Within the connection string, this is the username, and this is the server name. This is a password. Okay, remember that. Now key vault is available. Now what we need first thing is go to access control IAM, add role assignment. We need to grant what team? Key vault administrator role I am granting for Synapse and the Cloud Pandit dev Synapse workspace you need to grant, plus Cloud Pandit @gmail.com user also you need to grant this permission. Click select review plus SF. Okay. Now come to Synapse. Let's go to resource. Okay, so before yeah, it's okay. You can open the Synapse workspace. So source side we no need to do anything. Team source side we no need to do anything, and sync SQL database side only one thing we need to do. What is that thing? We need to enable the firewall. Click on set server firewalls. Selected networks. Add a firewall route. What is my IP.com? Copy this. Put that server IP address here. Okay, I allowed Azure services and resources to access this server. Now come to Synapse workspace. Go to manage linked services. Click on new. So first of all, you see SFTP. Okay, for SFTP, if you see, only password can be stored in the key vault. So all other things are not supporting. So that's why what I will do, whatever password that we have here, this password, that I'll store it in the key vault. Okay, team, understood everybody? So go to objects, go to secrets of the key vault, generate slash import. So what is this? This is SFTP-PWD. SFTP-PWD is the password. This is the password. Click create. Okay. Everybody understood? Everybody understood, team? This password I have stored in the keyword. Now come to Synapse Workspace. First, let's finish of this. Okay. Host name. As I mentioned, host should be like this. You can take from here to here is the host. Put that host here, and this is using the disable SSH host key validation. So username, what is the username? So as I mentioned, this is the username. Password will come from where? Key vault. So click on new connection to the key vault. ls for akv, subscription is this, storage key vault name is that, and test connection. We already see managed identity names are this. Dev Synapse Workspace already added in the keyword. Now it will allows the Synapse to access the sensitive information. So SFTP-PWD is there, and port 22 by default it will take. Now test the connection. Connection is successful. Now you can able to create the connection to the SFTP. So this connection to the SFTP, how we created it? We created with the help of, okay, so first of all delete this again. Create SFTP. So first we'll rename it as a ls for SFTP. Host name, I'll show you. Disable SSH key validation. Username is this, and host name is this. Okay, port 22, disable SSH host key validation basic. This is the username. Password is going to come from keyword. This is the secret that we need to use. Now test the connection. Connection is successful. You can able to create the SFTP linked service. Now if you go for the SQL database linked service, so SQL database we can able to store even, okay, here also it is only supporting, okay, here also earlier it used to support everything through this, but now it is not supporting, right? So what we need to do, only password we need to store it in the keyword. Now I'll just go to keyword. I'll store the database password. Okay. I just stored the SQL DB password. Now come to here. Let's put all our subscription is this, server name is this, database name is this, username is this, and password I am going to read it from the keyword. You can see. So SQL DB hyphen password, test connection team. Connection is successful. You can able to create it. Now we created our two linked services. What happened today? I'm not giving the proper names. ls for SQL DB. Subscription is this. Server name is this. Database name is this. Username I'm just putting here. Password I am reading from the keyword. Password I am reading from the keyword. Now test the connection. Connection is going to be successful. Now with this, are we able to copy data successful? Sorry, are we able to connect to the SFTP and SQL DB using the Key Vault linked service team? Yes, you can see this Key Vault linked service is used in these two. Okay. Now come to data. Create a two data sets, integration data set for SFTP as a CSV file. DS for SFTP is the linked service. So already the server till here, the host will be taken automatically. You can browse it, take it as India, landing, credit data. So I will point it to the folder. I will point it to the folder instead of reading a single file. Click OK. So data set is also now ready. Now click on new. Again integration data set. We need to create what data set now for SQL database. So DS for SQL DB. Linker service is this. Okay, so tables are not there, no problem. Let me just give the table name as dbo.credit data. Okay, click OK. So you can't, it will fail because import schema not possible when the table is not available. Now click OK. Okay, fine. Now I'll go to integrate. Let's create a pipeline now. We will use simple copy activity. What is source? Source is SFTP, wildcard file path star, sync. What is the sync? Sync is SQL database. So table we need to create automatically. That's why auto create table is enabled. With this, you can just run the pipeline and test whether copying the data from SFTP to database is it successful or failed. You can verify it. So once it is done, now finally we will create a logic app and we will configure the logic app to trigger the success and failure notification. Okay, see, files read is 1, rows read is 12, rows written is 12. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to just go to database. Let's connect to database here, query editor. Let's go inside and see whether this table is created or not. So let's verify credit data table is created. Yes. Select star from credit data. Run it. Yes, you have all the data. Now, final thing that we need to do is we need to create a logical code to portal.azure.com. Okay, so let's do one thing, just to take a duplicate of this. What happened suddenly? It's working here. What happened here? Here also it's fine. What? Okay, let's do one way. Okay, click on add logic apps. Okay, so anything you can take them. So workflow service plan, single tenant runtime with in-app connectors and scaling features. Okay, so anything is fine, you can just whatever it has given, let's go with that. And resource group is already we have existing resource group, we can make use of it. And here you can say logic app is cloud pandit, notification app. Okay, so central work windows plan, pricing, zone redundancy disabled. Okay, this is a minimum pricing plan. Storage account, some storage account, because now it is changed right recently, so that's why just let's create review plus create. Let's see. Okay, create it. Now, okay, so you can mark it as simple Synapse name here. That's it. Okay, so you need to take this and same name you need to replace here, so you can make use of the same flow. And if you see the formula here, pipeline data factor, same dynamic content you can able to use to get the Synapse workspace name. Okay, just let's wait for. Okay, so just to do, go to resource, go to workflows, go to workflows team, click on add a workflow, click on add. Just you can say my PL notification. Okay, optimized for high reliability, ideal for process business transition data, optimized for low latency, ideal for request response processing IoT events. Okay, we'll go with the stateful. We don't have anything internet of things which process data in real time. It is just for triggering the notification. Okay, go inside this particular workflow. Now within this workflow, um, we need to go to developer, go to designer. We add a trigger. What type of trigger we want to use? HTTP trigger, right? So you need to just add a request. When HTTP request is received, trigger it. Okay, so URL will be generated after save, but body we need to put that body, we already have it. isn't it? So just to take this body, keep that body here. So this is not closed properly. How come it is not closed properly? Here there is a close is missing. Okay, so that's how once we have done this kind of thing, now within this advanced parameters, not relative, show all. Okay, let's go up. Yeah, methods. Here we want to use a post method. Okay, fine. So with this, we are completed with the HTTP trigger. Now I want to add a action. What is the action type? Send email. Simply you can also, if you want to send a Gmail, simply you can type it as a Gmail. Send an email version 2. Okay. So first of all, you need to log in from which user you want to log in. So LS for Gmail. So I'm kind of a logging in with one of the Gmail account, which I'll be using to trigger the notification. Okay. The Gmail is not supported, it is saying. I think recently it is all removed because we won't use this in the anyhow real time. Okay. Okay, now what you need, just a simple add an action, just use Outlook, send an email. You need to sign in with Outlook account team. Browser has okay, so browser was blocked, as I just unblocked. Click sign in. Okay, so now it is going to show which account you want to log in. So we want to log in with this Outlook account. Yeah, already we logged in, right? Why it is showing once again? Just a minute, I did not remember.
Monday, you need to enter the full email ID to get the code.
Okay, okay. Correct, correct. Yeah, I got the code. Now I need to put this code here. Click sign in. Click yes. Okay, now it is created. To whom we want to send a notifications. So that thing we have in the Gmail email too. Okay. This should commit as a subject. This is also we are sending subject. We are sending as a subject. IT. Please find below details. Synapse name, activity name, pipeline name. Synapse name, you can choose this. Now let me just minimize this thing. Click add. Okay. ADF activity name. Just add it. Pipeline name. Status. Add dynamic content. Error. So go to dynamic content. You should have subject email synapse. Okay, I think status itself will tell you whether it is failed or success. Let me see. Error message is there, right? Why it was not showing there? Error was there. Error. Hold on. Error message there. Okay. Click add dynamic content. Okay. So with this, we are good with configuring this. Click save this. Now go to HTTP. The URL will be available now as it is saved. Copy this URL. Go to Synapse. Use the web activity here to trigger the first success notification. Let's send it. Okay. Method is post method, as you know. And now we want to send the success one, right? Success one is this. Here we can just configure this pipeline. Synapse name will come using the same. Okay, how? Go to system variable. You can see workspace name. You keep the cursor here. Click on workspace. See pipeline the data factory only coming even though you are working from the Synapse. Okay, dynamic system variables they have not changed it. Okay. Mails to whom we want to send a mail cloudpundit@gmail.com. Pipeline is finished. So same pipeline name here, pipeline name formula will come. Copy activity status, I'll be taking it dynamically. So how to take copy activity status is the copy activity dot status. Okay, I've taken dynamically. So error message, everything is okay, do okay, that's it. Okay, team? Fine. Now this is the body on the success, but let's imagine in case of failure you need to copy this. In case of failure you need to mark it as a failure notification, success notification, success notification. On failure case we'll be just making a small changes. Pipeline is failed, we will say. Same copy activity status will come dynamically. Pipeline has errors. Okay, click Okay, that's it. Now right click on auto align. The pipeline is aligned properly now. Okay. Yeah. So now what we wanted to do, now I want to debug. First, let's see whether success notification are we going to receive or not. Because first time, will it success or will it fail? Will it success or will it fail, team?
Success.
Okay, yes, copy activity is going to be successful and web activity is going to run. Web activity as we configured, yes, it is also succeeded, meaning we should be able to see one email with spam also I did not see. Here also I am not able to see this. Why I was not able to see email to they sent it. cloudpandit@gmail.com. Mail ID is correct only, but oh, now I received. Okay, bit late. So pipeline finished item. Please find below details. Synapse name is this. Copy activity pipeline one. Why the status is coming like this?
Art is missing.
Oh, okay, okay. At the rate is missing here. You must have to use at the rate team, otherwise it will just think that it's a plain text. It will send it. Okay, so that's why you always need to use a at the rate. So all other things are okay except the status did not come properly, so that's why I triggered the pipeline once again. Now let's see what is the status now. Okay, so success notification is sent. Now come here. Yeah, you can see this time you can say succeeded. Status is coming succeeded. So I think same mistake might be there here also. Let me correct the mistake here as well at the rate. So now we will make the pipeline to fail. How we can make the pipeline to fail is, I can just go into the sync. I'll say credit data, custard data. I'll say table name is custard data and yeah, custard data, and I'll say use existing table. That table is existed or not existed? Custard data table, is it existed or not existed, team?
Not.
Not existed. Now what happens? Copy activity, will it fail or will it succeed?
It will fail.
It will fail. If copy activity is failed, what activity is going to run?
Failure
Failure
notification.
notification. Okay. So when the activity is going to fail, it runs more like it runs longer time. The reason is pipeline itself, it will try to solve, like it will check is there any possibility to retry and writing the data. Okay, but in case if it is not possible, it will throw the error. Okay. See, status is pipeline is failed, status came, pipeline has some errors, pipeline copy activity. See, when you use a pipeline like dot data factory name, but here it is coming as a Synapse workspace, because that's a formula is same as a data factory. See here, this one I was talking about pipeline dot data factory, but it is giving a Synapse name. Understood, Tim? Yeah. That's all for today, Tim. Please let me know if you have any questions from your end. So SharePoint source, as a SharePoint source, I'll cover when we started with the Fabric. The reason is that it required a Office 365 account. Anyhow, to create the Fabric account, we will be creating Office 365 account. So that I need to purchase it. So that's why I'll cover that particular session at when we are covering the Fabric. Okay.
Okay. So when are we starting the Fabric?
We'll start immediately once we complete Synapse. We'll start Fabric. Okay.
Okay.
It takes one more week. This entire week, I think we will be spending on the Synapse still because Synapse notebooks are there. There are other stuff is there. Once we complete all those things, then by I think this entire week we will be with Synapse, and next week probably we will enter into the Fabric. Okay. Any other questions, Tim?
Um, can you tell the difference between a service principal and a managed identity? When to go for
Managed
service principal?
identity. See, yeah, yeah. So managed identity, you can see here today Key Vault we have used, right? Okay. Uh, so when we have used the Key Vault, how we have connected to the Key Vault from the Synapse? Tell me.
Through service principal. I mean, yeah, we added a user through service principal.
No, that is not a service principal. Like we did a managed identity. So that is called a managed identity. If you go here, if you see Key Vault, okay, what it is saying, managed identity name is Cloud Pandit Dev Synapse Workspace. Now this managed identities, the problem is these are automatically authenticates this particular services. See, now we are able to connect to the Key Vault from Synapse Workspace. Key Vault is directly able to authenticate the Synapse Workspace. Now, if anybody is having a access to the this particular Synapse Workspace, they can directly connect and they can do whatever they wanted to do, because if they have Synapse Workspace, that's enough. So that's the problem, because it is automated authentication, right? Automatically it will authenticate. So this will sometimes a problem. Security risks will be there because it is automatically authenticating. So to avoid this automatic authentication, we need to go for the service principal where we have username and password, and that username and password we can keep on rotating. Like that password secret key we can keep on updating for every 90 days or something, we can able to do for better security. Understood?
Okay. But in real time, what will be using?
We will be using the service principal, not managed identity, because one more thing with managed identity is, like for example, if you want to grant for, like for user on one of the storage account, I want to grant it as a read access. So for other person I want to grant it for write access. So if you want to control limit the scope of the permissions, that is not possible with a managed identity. Okay. When it comes to the service principal, we can grant like what exactly we want to add, we can able to add those things. I'll share exact difference between those two. Give me some time, because I also, because mainly this will be handled by the admin team, right? So we are also having very limited knowledge on uh, exact use cases when to go for managed identity. But remember, managed identity we won't use in real time. Mostly we will be using the service principal. Okay.
Okay.
Understood. And one more thing, it is very simple, right? So, for example, today we are using the ADF for Synapse. For example, you think of you are a Java developer or Python developer. Will you be able to manage the managed identity? Managed identity is only within the Azure services. But if you are writing some code, through the code you want to connect to some storage accounts and all, managed identity won't support. So in such cases you need to go for service principal. Understood this use case? For example, Java developer is writing some code, some application. That application wants to access some data from database or data lake storage. So you can't able to use managed identity with your Java coding or Python coding applications. because application often required a rotation of the key for every 90 days or 60 days. They'll keep these keys from the properties file and they'll read it. If it is a managed identity, it is forever, right? So that is not suggested by uh, any project or any client, okay? Because we always required, see, even if our passwords from our organization also, they suggest to rotate for every 90 days something, okay? That's the thing. But anyhow, I'll share clear details between difference between managed identity and service principal, when to go for what, okay? Any other questions, Steve? Any other questions? Okay, if no questions, then thank you. That's it.